3, 2, 1. My baby, don't mess around. I need intro music. All right. So, big night for Real Progressives. So happy with Real Progressives. We had Tatsu at 8. We just had Steve. Now we have me. And maybe we can mix the two together. Tatsu talked about election fraud. Steve was talking about how we have to get over the Trump thing. I'm going to try to combine the two. Come on. The thing about Trump is that guy is he's fucking hysterical. His base must love him. He's up there like a fucking clown. He literally is like a clown. He was up there doing this. I know Trump's going to say, what president in history got up there and went like this? He was dancing like a monkey. We call that in the comedy business that you're dancing like a monkey. He was just over the top. He's such a fucking liar. Because the thing that drives me crazy about him that people don't call him out on is he completely took so much of Bernie's platform and completely lied, right? The whole taking Wall Street down, that was a complete fucking lie. He just did the psychometrics and said, okay, that's good. I'm not involved with Wall Street, so I can take that from Bernie, so I can swing a little bit of the people over that way. What he did, it was between the fucking mad king and the arrogant queen, and fucking people picked the mad king, so now we have a fucking mad king. You didn't have much of a choice. What'd you want, the mad king or the arrogant queen? So Tatsu was talking about election fraud. If you missed him at the 8 o'clock hour, Steve was talking about like trying to keep it real and trying to keep it away from Trump, because the Trump thing really is, and again, when they do fake news and they throw out terms, it's all marketing effect. It's all from all sides. It's always manipulation, right? They're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to brand something. He's all about branding, so fake news. But it is true. We have, from our side, he's lying because they have tons of fucking fake news. It's, propaganda at AM radio, and they dominate on social media, on Facebook. A guy, I don't know his name is Jay Sikulau. I don't know what his name is, but his audience is huge on Facebook when he comes on there, and they're talking about how, oh God, I forget what their line was today, but somehow they just basically blame everything on Obama. Anything that's happening now is Obama's fault, not Trump's fault. So that's basically what their line of attack is. And it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I'm just saying his complaint that there's no media for him is such a fucking lie. So the real truth is there is no progressive news. That's why it's so important. That's why I'm like sort of pumped up tonight. We had Tatsu at 8 who did election fraud, and then we just had Steve. Hopefully if we can get a 24-hour loop here, if we can get a 24-hour loop where we're having call-in shows, guests, that's going to be the key, when we can develop a network that runs 24/7. All right, so let's talk about election fraud. Since Tatsu did about that a little bit. I got a chance to watch Greg Pallas's documentary finally on election fraud. I don't know how many people have seen it out there. And it does pretty much state that, the guys that have the money are running the table. And they don't get enough, scrutiny. And, it's hard to, if you haven't seen Greg Palast, it's Palast. It was up for free. I don't know if you've seen his documentary. But basically what's happening is with interstate cross-check is they're throwing people off the voter rolls, right? But then you sort of have to follow the money and who's financing all this stuff. So one of the guys is Paul Singer. I hope I'm going to remember his name right. And this guy is a vulture capitalist. He buys out bonds. He pretty much feeds on dying companies and dying countries by buying them and then selling them. It's really heartless stuff. He bought out Argentina's debt and then made them buy it back at 100 times the worth. So when you watch his show, which his movie, his documentary now, I forget the title of it. But basically what he goes over is this guy, Chris Kobach, he also is, financed by the Koch brothers and Singer. There is big money behind these guys, and they work hard to throw minorities off voter registration rolls. So it's another major part of the story is voter suppression. I really think that you should check out if you haven't seen it, because it's pretty complex and like it hasn't changed. I mean, all this happened also obviously when Bush won in Florida. He goes over that. Some of it's is stuff that a lot of it is a little bit of a rehash, but then he does add in players and organizations that you need to know. It could be a lot longer. From the Donors Trust, the Heritage Foundation, to a lot of shell organizations that are just designed for voter suppression. But the funny thing is that it's hard not to disagree that the news really tries to keep you away from the real stories, right? You have to go to people like Glenn Greenwald and Intercept to actually find real news. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Occasionally RT, right? Lee Camp. But I watched the DNC Women's Club. I had to go back and watch that. It was an hour and a half. It's on my wall. An hour and a half. You guys are not going to like what I'm about to say, because I'm going to say some crazy stuff. But it was an hour and a half forum with all the DNC chairmen. And man, do they all just talk the same. And man, does it make me feel like another 8 years of Trump. And you're going to hate this, but the only one that sounded like he had any idea, even closely resembled to a progressive viewpoint, was Keith Ellison. Now, that's going to drive you guys crazy, and you're going to flip out, but all the candidates up there, except for Keith Ellison, he was the only one who mentioned Black Lives Matter. He was the only one who sort of got the understanding that you have to win from the lowest levels to the highest level, and he was the only one, and I know you guys are going to hate this too, that had any kind of charisma, any kind of pop. And I think that's the part that you guys are not going to like about me, because I do take this from an entertainment value. I understand what Trump's doing. I know why he's talking about ratings and why he says all that crazy shit when he's doing his, because he comes from two different worlds now, right? He comes from marketing. People think that he was a builder. He went on to use his name and branding as a huge part of his business. So he's big into branding. He's big into ratings. So a lot what he does is about that. So if he sounds crazy when he's up there, it's because he's talking from like an entertainment and marketing standpoint. How does it play out? I'm sure I just took a whole survey about issues that they were worried about, and on the Trump-Pence site, and it was just like they were still bashing Hillary, and it's so funny he brings up Hillary. It's a great deflect from the real issues. Not that he doesn't make great points, but it's a great deflect because it puts MSNBC and CNN, it puts them in check, because what do we do? Do we ignore what he just said about the uranium deal, or do we cover it? So he knows how to make them backpedal real fast. Which I think it's funny. And I know his base loves it. Now, what he did today was he did this press conference, in my opinion, to shine the light away from the immigration protests to him. The reason why he called for a press conference today is because he didn't want these press conferences and these protests all over the country to get more press than him. That's my belief. And it was a big day for immigrants. They really came out strongly. They're so fucking brave to go out there and rally. And the reason why I bring this up is sort of what Steve was talking about. And the thing that I do, and again, you should really watch these live feeds whenever you have a chance, because if you can see the racists that are out there, and how happy they are to be racist now and be out there, It's like the bit from Aziz. They're just so happy they can be racist and loud, and it's more acceptable. You can be racist with your Trump hat on, and they have like a leader behind their racism now. It's like their dream come true. They have this guy that is fooling the public into, because it's all subtle racism from him. But if you go through the comments during the live streams of these protests, you will see the most ugly, racist people. And they are just emboldened by all this. And they are ugly. If you go and vet their pages, You will not believe what you see. I was like, it's walking into this Ricky Lake world. Now, why am I bringing it up? Because I truly believe racists and ugly people, they completely outnumber the Green Party. Now, the Green Party gets caught up in being very pure and very careful and making sure we're doing everything right. Well, I don't have that background. Like, I'm rogue. I don't know if I have the purity to be a Green Party member. I curse and I like to gamble and I'm fucking Han Solo. I'm willing to come and help, but I'm not sure I'm willing to wear the white purity. That's not the way I roll, people. So I have a little problem with the Green Party being so pure. You're going to have to take the rogues and the people like me who are going to run to the fight. So if I see a racist or someone who's an alt-right, I'm not walking the other way. I'm running too. I want to run too. So like when I see these guys, watch any live stream that has to do with helping people, helping immigrants, Muslims, lowering drug costs. Watch anything, and the racists will appear, and they are just ugly and emboldened, and it's a problem. So coming back to this network, right now it's all more commentary, more trying to get you guys fired up. Like tonight, I didn't start with good news. In San Francisco, they stopped allowing pet stores to sell puppy mill dogs. It's only rescue only. This is an article on my wall. You can check it out. So I'm always sort of talking about bad news. There is good news tonight. And that happens. How does that happen? How does a bill like that pass in San Francisco? Because people fought for it. And there is progress being made. And don't be dissuaded. And don't let these racist people come on live streams and not check them and not say something to them. Anywhere you see this kind of behavior, you've got to run to it. It's a risk. It's dangerous. I know. But you have to run to it. They need to know it's not right. You've got to run to it. All right. Let's move on. But we do have good news tonight. Let's go back to Greg Pallas's video. And it's really important that you watch it. But there's 29 states that now do the cross-check. Which a cross-check is, they try to figure out if multiple people are trying to vote, and they'll cut you off the voter roll if they find you. They'll just eliminate you. It happened to like a state senator, I think in Alabama. I wish I had his name, and it targets blacks, Asians, and Latinos. So again, talk about racism and voter suppression and why people are so excited is that all this money, the Paul Singers and the Kochs, and they put these monies into these groups that are specifically go after voter suppression. That's why they took out that, the rule, the Voting Rights Act rule I'm sorry, I'm losing my frame of mind. The Voting Rights Act rule, which would now require IDs, but they can also fuck in other ways. They can shut down polling places. They do a lot of crazy shit in a lot of different areas. This still goes on. Voter suppression is one of the bigger issues. Now the answer, when you talk about Tatsu and his show tonight, go back and watch Tatsu's show tonight, is open source, is bringing this issue to the table, because, there's got to be a better way, right? We should be voting with our social security number, or we should be voting with someone we can check our own vote. I mean, when you go vote, you have no idea whether you voted or not. When I buy a donut, I get a receipt. Why can't when I vote? Why can't I get a receipt in my hand with a number so I know exactly who I voted for? The system itself has to be better. So that's important. So they did other things that were really important. Let me check the time, people. 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. One of the other things they do is called caging. This is really crazy, and it's completely illegal. So caging is when they would send a letter to your house to verify whether your address was there, whether you were there. And if you weren't there to accept the letter, they would take you off the voter rolls. It's called caging. It's another way of voter suppression across the country, which I thought was really interesting. I never heard of it. And it's crazy they're saying that they use this cross-check, because cross-check is really just a very simple program. Tatsu would have to cover this, but it's a really simple program, and it's designed that way to be a simple program so they can eliminate people off the rolls. Now, they're doing super data collection as well through a thing called i360. They're continually, collecting our data and getting a read on us and trying to figure out how they can manipulate us. So they're intensely involved with swaying votes in any way they can. So suppression and then data points about us so they can emotionally manipulate us one way or the other. And they're pouring tons of money into this. I'm reading through my notes. I apologize. And the guys that are doing this, the bigger guy, and it's on my wall, the bigger player is a guy named Paul Singer. Please look him up, Vulture Capitalist. He's done some really horrible stuff from, I believe, in the Congo. He was involved with them. He was involved with Argentina. He was involved with the auto bailout. When the auto bailout came out, he purchased a company that supplied the parts, and also made like the buyout part of him being, he bought out the company that was dying, and then when the buyout came, when they had to give this money into the auto industry, he asked for a huge amount of money. So Paul Singer is a huge player in voter suppression. So I'm looking through my notes. All right. And it's across the board that they're trying, to, I just want you to know, it's not just black people, it is Latinos, it is Asian people. Across the board, they are trying to suppress the vote. Okay, let me just check your guys. All right, I didn't get to look at your guys' comments yesterday because I ran out of time. My phone ran out of energy. So let me look at your comments, and because we got to close this up. I got 7 minutes left. So let me just go back and see what you guys are saying. Give me 1 second. Landscape is a bitch, man. I'm telling you. And I scroll up, and it like locks up. I don't know who Carla McIntosh is. Hello. Oh, okay. Wisconsin is here. Hello, Wisconsin. Trump likes Bernie, but he is scared of Bernie's intelligence. The thing with Bernie is Bernie's the only one that's going to call him out and has the integrity to call him out. But Trump totally lied during his campaign, and I'm sure he used some sort of psychometrics or data points to realize, okay, what of Bernie's platform can I steal and say to sway some of his people to come over and vote for me? Because he's completely not done anything that he's going to say. He's not going to break up the banks. He's not going to do he's not going to do any of the things that he claimed that he did. He did it. He lied to his people, and they don't really fucking care. His people, they're not that tied into Wall Street and care about they're not going to. I'm sorry, this slips all the time. Maggie wants to lower prices. I don't know. You saw the suppression, the primaries, and Bernie supporters were thrown out of voting rolls. Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. And again, talk about DNC chair, and I know you guys didn't want to hear about that, but check out my wall, a whole hour-and-a-half forum of the DNC candidates for chairman, if you can stomach it. The only person who had any pop, any charisma, any Bernie-like energy was Ellison. And I know you guys hate that. I know you guys are more super progressive, off to the Green Party, but if you want any kind of change, any hope for change into the DNC, to me it looks like Ellison. I don't see anybody else. Even Sam Ronan, who you guys know Sam Ronan's a 27-year-old guy, did not come across well in that forum. So check it out. It's on my wall. Also, check out all the live streams today from the immigration protests on my wall so you can see all the racist comments. You have ATMs that we can't get voting rights. Right. It's definitely, I don't know the answer, but I definitely want you to go see Greg Palast and share his video. I don't know if it's still free today. It was yesterday. I watched it this morning for free. I really highly recommend it. It's an extension of the voter fraud and the voter suppression that has gone on obviously forever, but is continuing, and basically it's billionaires that are doing it. what's the answer? I think it's massive turnout, unfortunately, and getting involved in politics. But here's Emma. Emma says, Joe, read the article about Crosscheck and Rolling Stone. It's very informative. It's certainly about race, not moving. It's not the same people. And Emma's right. Palace works for what? He works for Rolling Stone. I think he works for Democracy Now! So definitely look into Crosscheck and share that. He really wants you to go watch it and share it. So it's really important, again, people, after you watch his video, to share it. He, throughout the whole video, he'll interject and say, please share it. If there's going to be one thing annoying that you find is that he breaks it up. Since he puts it up there for free, he begs at every, I won't say 5 minutes, but intervals, he begs you to share the video. And it's really fascinating, and it's pretty humorous. He's a pretty brave guy. I got to give him a lot of credit. All right, so let me just wind this all up. I'm sorry if I miss all your comments. Emma said, I yelled so much the first time I heard about Crosscheck. I knew about Crosscheck. I don't know what it was called back when it happened in Florida. I mean, that was, remember Catherine, was it Catherine Davis in Florida for Bush? Remember that? The same thing with the Crosscheck. So it's that same similar thing with the Crosscheck that happened with George Bush in Florida. So it's not really that. You're not going to find it like, oh, if you know about what happened in Florida, then you're not going to be like, well, this is really interesting. But the players now, the people who are funding it, you might find interesting. Not again that we can do anything about it, but just it's interesting. I'm sorry that it's so difficult for me to pull back on your guys' comments, but I am trying. I am trying. Yeah, I just want you guys to make sure that you support those live streams for the immigration protests, and always, get on there just so you can get an idea of why I truly, truly believe the biggest problem that we have is our purity as a party. Trump is so dangerous because he speaks to such a large base. The Republicans are happy because he's doing their bidding as far as whatever it's going to be, whether it's emboldening, religious rights, emboldening, less taxes, they think, if it's going to help business, even though it's going to pollute the water. The problem is, he's going to pollute the water, he's going to kill off animals, he's going to do it, and then he's going to ruin children. He's going to do everything that they're for. We know that. But the problem is he really speaks to their base, and he's very, I don't want to say scientific, but he is very, it is a form of entertainment for them. They want to be entertained by him, and they are entertained by him. And the press is entertained by him. He's very dangerous because he is good at manipulating. I think the press is losing their foothold because the press legitimately is not doing their job correctly, right? They do craft their news. It does feel phony to us. It doesn't feel real. Now, on the same token, Trump's playing the same game, but he has a bigger, stronger audience. He just has a stronger audience. It's the bottom line. If you look at the ratings at CNN or MSNBC, they don't have 25 million people following them. They don't, he's got coverage out the ass. What's going on is so insane. It's so insane how he's playing them. And it's people like Real Progressives, and tonight was so important because we're finally getting our footing. So we had Tatsu go, we had Steve go, we had me go. Eventually, the network will grow as far as guests, call-ins, and it's up to you guys. Again, I'm telling you every night that it's up to you guys. I got to go. I don't know if there's any more comments. But so please, sorry, I'm trying. Yeah, Steve, get Ken Mejia on my show. I would tell you guys this. I'm going to try to do some packaged shows where you guys may not be able to comment, and I will just do interviews. So I am looking forward to do packaged shows where it's like me. I don't know if you guys know Curtis from the network, and then me, us three and a guest. But we won't be able to take questions or phone calls for the time being. I want you guys to stick with this network because we are growing. We are trying to do other things. We're trying to, we would like to go 24/7. That may occur soon. You'll see more content 24/7. Tonight was, again, the way we'd like it to be, 8, 9, 10, 11, and into the morning hours and loop around. And you got to bear with us. We understand, we're not giving you. I'm dressed like Bernie Sanders with my winter coat and my Bernie hat, but eventually, hopefully, call-ins, guests. Look forward to all of that. And tonight, be pumped up. Look, they are forcing us to have a progressive news station. It's being forced upon us, and I'm going to beg you, as I always do. Feel free to contact me through Facebook Messenger, because I don't know. So I think I have a weird thing with on my Facebook page. I'm not getting people their articles aren't coming through. So if you want to send me articles through Facebook Messenger, feel free, and then I can read them and I can talk about them. I need you guys as my eyes and ears in other states. I need you guys to help this broadcast. You guys are part of the beginning. This is like hidden numbers. This is like we're trying to go to the moon, man. And I need your guys' help. I need all hands on deck. We can't do this alone. This is a startup, and tonight was like an encouraging night as you see back to back the potential of how this can go. So please, Facebook message any stories that you think I'm not covering. I should be covering. Any comments, any jokes, anything funny, anything at all. Feel free. It's because I need your help. Doing this alone is not easy, and I got to go. Thanks, guys. Keep it real, progressives. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. All right.